Twisted X has a few different models in their Tech X line. This one has a Goodyear welt and a leather outsole, and the Tech X on the inside is like this cell stretch cushion stuff that they provide at the ball of the foot and at the heel. So I want to see if this boot that's made in China is actually resoleable, because it does have a Goodyear welt, and what that cell stretch stuff looks like on the inside. These Twisted X boots have a hole in them. I've worn them enough to get a resole, so I'm gonna send them off to Thomas Barrett at Siller Boot and Shoe. He's gonna resole them and then give us his thoughts about the inside of this boot. So let's get to it. All right, I got Thomas Barrett here from Siller's Boot and Shoe Repair, and Thomas was able to resole these Twisted X boots with the cell stretch. And these are made in China Twisted X boots, and oftentimes you can't have made in China boots repaired. So Thomas, my question is, what was the process like of getting these soles off to repair them?
You know, with that pair of boots and the method of construction that was used, it really was very similar to most of the footwear that I resoled. I didn't run into anything in the boot that was prohibitive in terms of resoling, or really even problematic. Sometimes that's not the case, but with this pair of boots, it was very straightforward.
And when you got the soles off and were able to look at the cell stretch, you were able to cut it back and then sort of fold down that piece. What did you notice about that? What were your thoughts on how they were able to put that cushion in there when there's not that much room to work with this being a leather outsole cowboy boot?
So anytime you have cutouts or inlays in an outsole, a midsole, or an insole, it can be problematic. These boots were in good enough shape that no problems had yet manifested, and so the resole was pretty straightforward. Now, that stretchy material, that cushiony material that was an inlay, over time that's going to break down and it's going to move in a way different than the material around it. And so when you go to resole it, if it is now paper thin and you take that out and you put new cushion in there, there's going to be a 100% immediately noticeable comfort difference for the wearer, because as that synthetic material crushes down, you feel it every step along the way as it's breaking down. And then when you replace it, if it's all the way across the ball of the foot or the heel or wherever you're replacing it, if it's all the way across, then it's a uniform difference all the way across. But with an inlay like this, where the edge of that broken down foam is now abutted against something else, and maybe your foot is right on that seam, maybe the ball of your foot or your big toe is right where you're replacing synthetic material, there's an immediately noticeable difference in comfort. And so with these boots being in great shape, it wasn't a problem at all. But 2 resoles, maybe 3 resoles later, what I would be looking to do is remove the entire layer that had that inlay, so that whatever I replaced it with was very consistent.
So when you say inlay, do you mean like they removed material inside to make room for that padding?
Absolutely. So let's just call this the insole of the boot. Roughly speaking, those were the inlays. So if your foot is this wide, you can see if you replace just a piece of padding here, but not the material on the outside, it may be right under your foot and a comfort issue. But also, more to the question you just asked, if you were to push on either of those inserts, they would push out of the material around it because it's just glued in place, and then you'd be on the inside of the boot. It truly is inlaid in that insole material, which again, it wasn't problematic with this pair. They were in really good shape, but you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, if they're put into hard service, all of that material is going to move over time, and you'll be used to it over time. And then if somebody goes to replace that, it will be immediately noticeable as a comfort issue.
It's an interesting construction, and I could see what you mean by the space that you might be able to notice after a lot of wear and then getting them resold. But it definitely has a unique feeling as a wearer at the same time to have that extra cushion at the ball of the foot.
Those sorts of things, it really, what it comes down to is all these different styles of construction techniques and materials, they all have their place. And it's just really important to be purposeful when you make your purchase. If you want a pair of work boots that's going to last a long time, I would have a very strong opinion on what you should look for. If you want a pair of boots that is immediately comfortable and looks nice, and maybe they're going to be your Sunday go to church boots or your date night boots, you can really change your considerations on how it was built and what materials go into it, so long as you're really clear about what's the purpose of these boots, because there's so many different ways that footwear is put together now. It's just a shame to see somebody spend money on something and it turn out to not be what they thought it was going to be. And so I've got no problem with boots that are made like that. I've got no problem with $800, $900, $1,200 custom boots. I just really try and get my customers to understand, like, what are you buying and what do you intend to use it for, and let's make sure we get the best product for what your intended purpose is.
And to be clear, you're saying that maybe if there is removed pieces on the inside, it might not last as long as something that's just two pieces of leather butted up against each other in a more traditional construction.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anytime you have synthetic materials that are glued together in an environment like that, if you put that into real work every day on a job site, rain or shine, it would not last as well as a boot that has superior quality construction and components.
Well, that's great information for all the viewers today. And thank you so much, Thomas. I am actually kind of surprised that these were able to be repaired at all. So thank you so much for sending them back to me and showing us how the inside looked all together.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell people how to find you if they need their boots resold?
Absolutely. I'm on social media, both Facebook and Instagram. You can search for Siller's Boot and Shoe Repair. It should pop right up. I'm in Great Falls, Montana. Phone number is 406-452-1415.
Thanks so much, Thomas. I'm looking forward to talking to you again. When you get those synthetics in a boot, it might be comfy, might be cute, but it'll never last as long as those with traditional roots. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching today. Why don't you check out this other repair video up here with Siller Boot and Shoe, or I got a music video down here I think you might enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe up here, and I will see you next time. Peace. Have a good one.